Hey everybody, and welcome to this video. So today I'm just going to be running through how to change your oil in your car. Now to me this seems like a very silly video to make because it's the bread and butter of what I do all the time. It's so simple and it does basically go from car to car, so it doesn't matter what vehicle you have, the process is still the same. So if you're thinking about, you know what, I need to do an oil change in my car, I can't really be bothered to take it to the garage, they're always going to rip me off, or how easy is it to do myself? So the same principles that I'm going to show will apply to all the different vehicles out there. Behind me, we have a Ford Focus 1.6 petrol. And what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath. I'm going to show you where the drain bung is on this vehicle, on what we do through from it all. So I've just brought this back from the MOT, so the engine is nice and warm. It is advised that you warm up your engine a little bit because when the engine warms up, the oil warms up itself and it goes a bit thinner, so therefore it's easier to drain out. This is the process we do it. So I'll see you under the car. So here we are under the car, and as you can see, we can't really see a lot here. We've just got the under tray that's in the way, protecting the engine. A lot of vehicles have this, some don't have it all, and what it does is just protects it from getting wet and the rain and everything like that. Regarding what car you have to remove this to get access to the engine. So here we have some screw holes that go around here. Once they're undone, you can remove it, plonk it over the way out here. So with that removed, we have the engine and gearbox exposed and some of the auxiliaries. You can obviously have a look at the belt here. We've got the AC pump here. We've got the oil filter nicely located here. Now if you just say, I don't know what my oil filter looks like, if you've bought your oil and your filter, you have the new oil filter in your hand. So you just have to basically look for the thing that looks like the one in your hand. So that's just here nicely. So here's the sump, and on your sump there will be a drain bung somewhere along the line. Usually it's a bolt that you need to unscrew to come out. Sometimes there'll be like a socket size, like an Allen key that needs to go in, but this is a Ford and it's a 13mm bolt here that's on there. So what you just need to get yourself is a 13mm socket and a ratchet, set it to undo, and then there we go, crack it open. They might be a little bit hard. What I always say, if you're wondering how tight to do it up, is how tight was it to undo. Sometimes they have like the Newton meter torque actually stamped underneath it all, but you just need to make sure that it's tight. You don't want to do it too tight because that's when you'll rip the threads out and then you'll put yourself into some trouble. So with that, I'm done. Here, what we're going to do is just going to undo it. I should have gloves on to protect against contaminants. So there we go. Right, here we go. I'm going to put it up nice and close. You don't want to leave it down here and undo it because it will go everywhere. You've got no idea of where this is going to go. It's going to go like that. So you want to lift this up really high up to it here. Undo it until it's almost out. Yeah. Once you know it's almost out, it's because look, it'll start dribbling. See that? Hear that? But it's still in. And then what you want to do is you want to whip it out quite quickly. Yeah. Put the nut to the side, or the bolt to the side, sorry. And then I always like to hold it elevated a bit because I don't know if you can see, but there's two strands coming up. We've got the main flow coming out here, but then we have the secondary dribble. Make sure you have a big enough bowl that's going to catch both bits. And with it being warmer, we now just have to wait for it to come out. While that's draining, as you can see, the arc will always come closer in as it's coming out. Once the pressure of the flow is decreasing, you know, it's going to start moving back. So this is when you probably start moving it back here. Obviously, if you're doing this outside, I would put some protective sheeting down on the floor because wind, just a bit of gust of wind, it's not much it's going to take it to start throwing this oil all over the place. So a bit of cardboard, bit of anything around down the bottom, we'll do that. So what I like to do is to say I'll move this all the way over because it's not going to go back over that way again now. It's always going to be dribbling out. This gives us time to access the filter housing here. What you can use, this is a pair of plumber's grips that you can use. You get it up in here like this, and then just give it a twist, or you can get yourself one of these 3-pronged clamps which go on the filter, and then you put your ratchet on it, and then it tightens up as it's going round. That remove. Well, again, these are only like £6 or £7 from like Amazon. These are some oil filter like wrench. That's it. These are what I use basically all the time. Here we have the bung. At the bung, we have a rubber washer. Okay, we're going to be replacing that. What you want to do is you want to grab it and get yourself a pick or a small like electrical screwdriver. Just pick it off like that, There's the old one. And then get yourself a new one and then just pop it on. So the reason why we do this is because not all of them are rubber like this. Some of them are copper, some of them are aluminium ones. What this does is it just helps seal against it and will stop any kind of leaks. If you don't replace it, you can get drips coming through from it all. So when you're ordering up your oil and your oil filler, get yourself a washer as well. So you can have a sump bung washer. These are sump bung washers, or whatever you call it in whatever country you're in. Alternatively, you can get new washers themselves, is the whole thing in one go. So if you say, can I have a new sump bung? This is a sump bung. So you get a new sump bung, which will come with a new washer in it, about £3, filter and the oil. But you can get the washers separately. All right. So we're on a dribble now. We're just dribbling out. What I like to do, if you can, so if you loosen off the filter, you see we've got more coming out now. Yeah. When you do this, sometimes it releases the pressure and it chucks a bit more out of the sump as well. So just a little quarter turn at a time. Right? So don't just whip it out all straight away. Here's the filter here. I'm just giving it a little quarter turn at a time. By doing a little quarter turn at a time, it's just letting a little bit more out and about. And you can feel when it starts to get really loose before it's going to come out. And just before it fully comes out, it will chuck a load out, so be ready. Before I take that all the way out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this sump bung back in here. Yeah. Doing it up with my fingers, so I know not to cross thread it or anything. But it gets tight. Turning it on to tighten up. There we go, and I'm just gonna give it, there we go, a nip, just a nip, because I know that's all I need. And we're gonna move the bowl over, the bowl's here, and then we're gonna undo the last bits of this, because then once we tip it like that, more is gonna come out, and then what you wanna do, they're all different cars, as I say, try and bring it out faced up, okay, like that, all right, because once you turn it, that's when the rest of it's all going to come out, okay? And then we'll get the new filter, and then we'll put that on, and then all we've got to do is fill it up. Right, so here we have the new filter. We've got a Bosch filter. That's what I like to fit on them all. It may be like a second for you guys, but I've been waiting like 3 hours for this to be delivered from 2 miles up the road. So I am not happy at all. So yeah, what you should do sometimes is good to get a bit of oil and just put it around on the seal. So it helps that it doesn't get stuck. Check on there, make sure the old seal's not stuck on there. Wind it on. Wind it on as tight as you can with your hands and your fingers. And sometimes you can just get the grips and then just give it a little, there you go, nip like that. So that's the oil and filter replaced. I'm going to put the under tray back on, and then I'll see you up top for the filling. Right, so now we've done that. We've put the under tray back on, we've tightened up the oil filter, and we've done the sump bung, washer, and made sure that's nice and tight. The last thing we need to do is add the oil. So I'm using 530 fully synthetic Ford oil. I have in a big barrel, and then obviously I'm putting in the required amount. So you can go online to lots of different oil checkers. If you go check my oil, and in there you'll get up lots of different places that you can go and actually check the amount of oil that you need for your car. So I know these take between sort of like 4.5 litres. So I'm going to put 4 litres in, and then I'll be checking from there. Right, so it's always a good idea to use a funnel as well. This makes it a lot easier to try and get it in without making any mess. I'm going to check the dipstick. The dipstick, or usually, always has a yellow or red eye on it, so you can always tell which one it is. So we dip it, we wipe it, and then we dip it again, and then we bring it out, and then we check, and then on there, there's 2 lines on one there, and then if you look, you can see that the oil is bang on the top there. So you'd think, oh great, that's great, I've done it, I've topped up the oil. But when you start the engine up, the oil will be dragged through the filter and it will go down maybe 100 mil, 100 to 200 mil. So you always need to put a little bit more in, okay? But what we'll do is we'll start it up now and then we'll check it and go from there. So cap on, Always put the cap back on, otherwise. Pew. So start the car and then leave it running for about 10 seconds. Wait for the oil can light to go out. That means you've got enough oil pressure. And then from there, we then dip it again. Dip, wipe. Dip, and then check. So now, if you can see, you can see that the line has gone down to there, you see? So that's how much it's used. This is about 500 ml, about half a litre usually. So we'll put in about that and see where we go. Right there. You don't want to overfill it. Okay? You do not want to overfill it, so do little bits at a time. So wipe it, dip it, and check it. And if you can see there, so we're back up to there. So we're just shy of our mark. Yeah, we're just shy of our mark. So I'm going to put a little bit more in, and then I think we're going to be good. So we'll put in that much more. So there we go, everybody. That's how you do an oil and filter change on your car. So say they're pretty much the same wherever you go. The bits might look slightly different, but the process is the same. So guys, I hope this was helpful. And if you did like it, please do like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.